This episode was so good that it actually could have been a finale episode, because when you just look at the entire structure of what the episode is, I mean, the first half is focusing on really introducing Miko as a character, giving her some characterization, and allowing you to understand how she is as a person. And then the second half of the episode is more along the lines of just seeing, our characters finally achieving their goal of being a part of the student council. Shirogane is now the student council president, Kaguya is the vice, president, and just when you look at everything the way it's structured, it does look like a finale. Like, honestly, if this was the final episode, like if season 2 ended here, I would be pretty happy. I mean, I'm glad there's more episodes, don't get me wrong, I love this series, I'm glad I can watch it every single week on a Saturday, but I'm just saying, if season 2, let's say, was to end here, I would be very satisfied, because it is a really good episode just for, like, that feeling of, okay, we can wait for a few more episodes to come out for, let's say, season 3. That's kind of what this felt like. But, okay, anyways, let's talk about Miko, because I think that is one of the major parts of this episode that needs to be discussed, and it's something that many are going to be, like, shocked about while watching this episode. So, Miko as a character, I'm just gonna be straight up. I don't agree with her ideals, but I do feel sympathy and I do understand what she fights for. And in all honesty, her wanting to fight for a moral world, fighting for a moral school, is something that I truly appreciate. She is definitely a good person. Deep down, Miko is definitely someone that wants the world to be just, wants the world to be good, wants, basically to make sure everybody is living a moral life. And I really think that deep down, Miko really wants what she says. She's not trying to have ulterior motives. She wants to truly make the world a better place. And seeing people pick on her is something that would happen to anyone, not just her character, like, Miko as a character, but I think anyone in real life that was like Miko, they would act the same way as how, people treat her. Because Miko, her ideals are so strict that people cannot rally behind her. Because, let's be honest, if someone told you you had to shave your head and have, no hair on you, you'd probably be completely against it. I mean, there is a lot of reasons why people would be against that, and just so many other strict rules she has that she wants to put in place if she was to become the student council president. When you just look at everything that she wants, nobody is going to rally behind that, because it's way too strict, and nobody wants to have, rules pressed up against them when they've already been in a society that's been so lax and happy, etc., that they don't want to get into a world where they're just forced to dress completely right and have their hair completely shaved off. People don't necessarily want that. So obviously the environment, the student body is completely against her. And I think in any form of setting, not just in school, but if you're trying to force regulations as radical as, let's say, what Miko is doing, there will be a lot of pushback, and there would definitely be a lot of people that would just fight against you, and you probably would never win. So this is why I'm saying I feel bad for Miko, but I don't agree with her ideals. I think her ideals are just definitely completely just like, that would never work. In any world, it would never work with how far she wants to press it, because it's not going to happen. However, I don't think she deserved all the ridicule and bullying that she got, especially from what we got to see for ourselves within this episode, and Ishigami kind of clarifies it the best way he can. Because of how strict she is, because of how she's constantly getting on to people to, be moral, etc., the people that dislike her attack her when she's at these speeches, because she kind of shrivels up. She can't do anything. She clearly just freezes. She can't speak, and everybody just picks on that very, little detail about her, because, I mean, you have this person that's very stern, very assertive, someone that is wanting to fight for a just and moral world, and she has this attitude about her, this presence, that could even go up against Shirogane himself, but then, straight up, when she gets onto a podium to speak to everybody, she falls and crumbles. And it's definitely something that kind of shows why people pick on her, because, like, wow, the drastic differences in her personality. Someone that is so vocal, and then someone that's so meek and can't really do anything. Obviously, those that don't like her are just gonna really go after that. And honestly, there, in a regular world, like in real life, there wouldn't be typically people like Shirogane to come in and save the day. Not normally would you see something like that, which is the sad, harsh reality. But thankfully, this is anime, and Shirogane did come in to save the day for Miko and not allow her to be a laughingstock to the entire student body, which, let's get into Miko's stage fright. So Miko, she obviously had a severe case of stage fright, and honestly, I understand that completely. I actually, when I was growing up, when I was going to school, I remember, I forget the details, I had to do a speech in front of my entire school. I remember I did that a long time ago, and when I did the speech, I remember getting weak in the knees, and I remember watching shows and, every sorts of, TV, movies, etc., seeing characters, kind of getting weak in the knees and, passing out, etc., not being able to speak. I have definitely seen these moments already before that happened, and I never experienced it till that time I had to do a speech, and I remember literally shaking. My legs were shaking behind the podium when I had to do a speech, and I understand that emotion that Miko felt when she froze. I never thought, I would be able to understand that before that happened to me, but now being in that position, I understand. It's the worst. It's honestly one of the worst emotions to feel, because you want to speak, you need to speak, but you're so shriveled up that you just can't, because it's so embarrassing, and all eyes are looking at you, all eyes potentially judging you, etc., and the more people look at you and the more you continuously be awkward, the worse it gets, and it kind of integrates that even more to where you just can't speak. So I just think that entirety of Miko's character, what happened this episode, was very emotional, and I'm just so glad that Shirogane actually came in for the save. It really makes me respect his character even more than I already did, because this episode straight up is blessed just because of what Shirogane did for Miko, because he was able to kind of give certain questions and egg Miko on to deliver certain questions, get her entire campaign point across, while he was pretty much putting, these questions towards her, and I think it's a really good way to show how good Shirogane is as a student council president, but also as a negotiator, because he is someone that wants to get the points out for what Miko is fighting for, but he also wants to refute them and say, no, it's not going to work, etc. So, in turn, he did give Miko a platform to talk, for she wasn't as embarrassed. She could only focus on one target, which was Shirogane, but in turn, Shirogane was able to kind of completely demolish her campaign, because he refuted everything that she wanted, her ideal. So, it was a win-win for both sides. I just really do think that Shirogane really is a good man. We already know he was, we already knew he has been since the beginning of the story, but just seeing this episode just says enough about his character and why someone like Kaguya really did fall for him, which that is something that's very funny about this episode. So, after all of the drama, the emotion, etc. throughout the episode was done, Kaguya, she gets really, really, really sick in her stomach, and she has to go to the infirmary, because she was absolutely a nervous wreck, because even though it's very apparent Shirogane was going to win, Kaguya was very worried, because technically she is the cause for, Shirogane to become the president again, because she's like, could you please do it once again? She's the one that initiated it, and that's kind of how all of this really started. And so if the president didn't necessarily win, everything that she kind of set in motion was basically for nothing, and she would feel very embarrassed and upset about it. So she went out of her way to really make sure that he can win, and we get to see a little bit more of a distorted personality of Kaguya, and how she's actually someone that literally has puppets on the election committee and all sorts of things. She's already living that life of a politician. I'm just gonna say, it's pretty funny to think about. But I just think that Kaguya going as far for Shirogane to try to get him to win is just truly sweet, honestly. And then at the end, when she's just getting so upset and she's talking to Hayasaka starts doing the volume control, and I'm just like, wait, is this happening? Okay, I know Kaguya, Kaguya-sama Love is War has beautiful animation, voice actors, etc. I've commented on it a lot, but holy crap, that sequence with just Hayasaka literally kind of lowering the volume on Kaguya and then bringing it back up and then down again, and just kept doing it, and you saw the screen shrink and then get larger. I'm just like, that is absolutely genius. That is amazing to see from an animation studio. I wonder how that actually was in the manga, because obviously some of the jokes that are displayed within, manga cannot be presented the same way as in an anime, because animes, constantly going. It's moving. It's like fluid. It never stops. And so, because of that, you can't just do, like, certain types of jokes that's in a manga setting. And I wonder how that joke with Hayasaka was done in the manga, or if that was not even included in the manga and it was just completely anime original entirely. That is something I'm very curious about, because honestly, I'm really curious to see the manga panels of that, if that was in the manga. I'm curious on how the artist and writer did it. But it's not just that, though. The reason why I'm complimenting it is just because it's just such an amazing way to show that Hayasaka as a character, she's just so fed up with, Kaguya's emotional distress of how she's always freaking out that, Shirogane doesn't love her, etc., and she's misunderstanding, and Hayasaka just doing that entire ordeal. You could just see she's so done with Kaguya's routine, but at the same time, she does love Kaguya, and she wants to support her, and wants her to succeed in this relationship with Shirogane. So it's all around, it shows a lot about Hayasaka's character, and I think it's a really good moment of the episode, and especially for the animators, to really just showcase their skill, honestly, and also the voice acting, too. The voice acting is just absolutely incredible. I mean, you can't really beat the voice acting of the whole Miko and Shirogane scene. That was, whoa. Which, speaking of which, I want to talk about Ishigami. Ishigami had a really good character moment in this episode, and I've always been a fan of the man. Like, he is a great character, and I think that, honestly, he's really relatable to a certain degree. And seeing him act like he did in this episode, kind of initiate helping Miko on the stand, it's something that really goes to show that Ishigami is a really good-hearted individual. I know many might misunderstand and think that he might not care for others, etc., be cold-hearted, but just seeing how he's like, I don't like Miko's ideals. She annoys me, but I don't want to see her getting laughed at on the stage and become a laughingstock, bullied, etc., and I respect that. I respect that about Ishigami, because technically, if it wasn't for him, everything wouldn't really have been initiated with Shirogane going up on the stage. I do think it might have happened to some degree. Maybe Shirogane might have went up, himself, or maybe Kaguya, but I think if it wasn't for Ishigami's actual push, it wouldn't have happened as quickly as it did, and there would have been more lasting damage to Miko's character than there already was. Which, speaking of which, Miko is apparently going to be joining the student council. So that is something that makes me incredibly happy. As a anime watcher of Kaguya-sama's Love is War, like an anime only, that doesn't know what's going to happen, seeing that Miko is going to be joining the student council, that is honestly the best news I heard from the episode, because Miko as a character, she is a really good contrast to our group, and seeing how she's very morals, like she has a lot of morals and she wants the school to be a certain way, seeing her in the mix with someone like Kaguya, Shirogane, Ishigami, and Fujiwara will definitely make me see some interesting development between the characters when she pops up, because she's not going to go along with her antics completely, because she's going to be, very morally just, and she's going to probably be against Kaguya and Shirogane wanting to be together and all that, and Fujiwara's love and all that. Miko is going to be able to see for herself how Fujiwara is chaos itself. So I think that Miko joining was the best decision that the writer could have made, because, I mean, after just such a fantastic introduction and just a scene showing that Shirogane saved her, I feel like, just seeing her joining the council is probably the best. But okay, I think I want to wrap up this video here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. Because for some reason, even if you click the subscribe button, you don't always get notified. So if you want to get notified, hit that bell icon. And with that, Chibi out.